My fiancée chose her ex over me a week before the wedding. I cried for one night. Then I sold the ring. 48 hours later, she was calling nonstop. 1 week before the wedding, the venue booked, the flowers ordered, our families buzzing with excitement. She looked me in the eye and said, "I can't do this. I think I still have feelings for my ex." No tears. No hesitation. Just those words, and then silence. I sat there, stunned, trying to process the fact that the woman I was about to marry had already mentally walked out of our relationship. That night, I broke. I cried like I hadn't cried in years. Alone, surrounded by wedding decor, RSVP cards, and her dress hanging in the corner like a ghost of what could have been. I felt discarded, humiliated, like a backup plan who never stood a chance. But I promised myself I'd only grieve for one night. And I kept that promise. The next morning, I got up with a different kind of energy. Cold. Focused. Done. I sold the ring, canceled everything, and didn't look back. Now, just 48 hours later, she won't stop calling. Regret has a ringtone. And it's ringing off the hook. It was supposed to be the most exciting week of our lives. Just 7 days until I stood at the altar, looking into the eyes of the woman I thought I'd spend forever with. The final fittings were done, the playlist finalized, and our guest list had grown beyond what we could handle, but I didn't care. I was all in. I was in love. Blinded, actually. Then out of nowhere, she asked if we could talk. I didn't see it coming. She didn't look nervous, just cold, empty. She sat across from me, calm as ever, and said the words that shattered everything. "I think I need to be honest. I still have unresolved feelings for my ex." I remember blinking slowly, like my brain couldn't compute the sentence. She kept going, said she didn't want to enter marriage with doubts, said it wouldn't be fair to either of us. But what she really meant was, he called, and she answered. It didn't matter that I had done everything right, supported her dreams, respected her space, loved her without limits. I wasn't him. And apparently, that was my greatest flaw. Forever didn't fade. It collapsed, one sentence at a time. Unfinished business. That's what she called it. Like our relationship, our wedding, our entire future was just a placeholder, a waiting room while she decided whether or not to go back to someone who had already broken her once before. She said it without flinching. No emotion, no remorse. "I owe it to myself to see if there's anything still there," she told me, as if that made it okay to gut me a week before our wedding. She didn't cry. I did. She didn't look back. I did, at every moment we shared, every promise she made, every time she said I was the one. But now, standing in front of me, she looked more sure about running back to her past than she ever did about building a future with me. I asked her if she'd been talking to him this whole time. She didn't deny it. Just said she reconnected recently. Translation. I was the safe option until something more exciting knocked. She didn't want closure, she wanted curiosity. Wanted to test the waters with a man who once drowned her. It was never about love. It was about ego. And I was just collateral. A ring. A backup. A man she never truly chose. Looking back, the signs were always there. I just didn't want to see them. The way she talked about her past with him, always a little too fondly. The lingering smile when his name came up. The time she'd go quiet for no reason and say she was just thinking. I thought I was being paranoid. I told myself I was overthinking it, that I was just insecure. But deep down I knew. I wasn't her first choice. I was the man she settled for when the one she really wanted wasn't available. She loved how stable I was, how kind I was, how I treated her like she mattered. But she never looked at me the way someone does when they're truly in love, not the way she probably looked at him. I was safe. I was consistent. But I wasn't thrilling. I wasn't dangerous. And somewhere along the way, she mistook comfort for boredom. Now I realize I wasn't the destination. I was the layover. She kept me close because I made her feel secure. But the moment her chaos came calling, the moment he resurfaced, she jumped. She leapt back into the fire without hesitation, leaving me behind like I was a cushion she no longer needed. Being a safety net means you're only valuable when someone's falling. And the moment they think they can fly again, they cut you loose. That night was the longest of my life. The apartment was silent, but inside me, everything was screaming. I sat in the dark, staring at the ring box on the table. The same one I'd opened a year ago with shaking hands and a heart full of hope. Now it just looked like a reminder of how foolish I'd been. 1 week from forever, and she had chosen someone else. I didn't try to be strong. I didn't bottle it up. I let myself fall apart. I cried harder than I had in years, not just from the pain, but from the humiliation. I had invited people from across the country, paid deposits, written vows. I had imagined a future with someone who never really saw me as hers. I scrolled through our texts, our pictures, those little videos where she swore she'd love me forever. Lies. Sweet, well-packaged lies. I lay down on the couch because I couldn't bear to sleep in the bed we once shared. Every corner of the place felt tainted. Her perfume still lingered in the air like a ghost I couldn't shake. But I made myself a promise in that darkness. Tonight, you break. Tomorrow, you begin again. And I kept that promise. When the sun came up, it didn't feel like just a new day. It felt like a lifeline. The tears had dried. My eyes were heavy, but my mind was sharp. For the first time in weeks, maybe months, there was clarity. The pain was still there, no doubt, but it wasn't controlling me anymore. It was fueling me. Something had shifted in the night, from heartbreak to resolve. She hadn't texted. Not a single word. And that silence. That told me everything I needed to know. She didn't feel guilty. She wasn't torn. She was just gone. I made coffee, stood by the window, and stared out at the street below. Same cars, same sounds, same world, but I wasn't the same man. I'd spent so long trying to make her happy, trying to be enough, trying to prove my love. And for what? To be left behind like a coat she didn't need anymore? No more. That morning, I opened my laptop and started canceling things. The photographer, the venue, the caterer. Each click was a step away from her, and a step toward myself. I didn't answer any calls. I didn't tell anyone. I just moved. Quietly, calmly. And for the first time in days, I felt powerful. Walking into that jewelry store felt surreal. Just days earlier, I had held that ring in my palm like it was sacred, a symbol of commitment, of forever. I had spent months saving for it, stressing over the design, imagining the look on her face when I slipped it onto her finger. But now, that same ring sat in a box in my pocket like a burned-out promise. The jeweler greeted me with a polite smile, probably used to people coming in heartbroken. I didn't say much, just handed him the box and nodded. He opened it, inspected it, and offered a number. Less than I paid, of course, but I didn't flinch. This wasn't about profit. This was about letting go. When the transaction was done, he handed me the receipt, and I walked out with a lighter pocket and an even lighter soul. I hadn't realized how heavy that little piece of metal had become, how much weight I had given it emotionally. Selling the ring wasn't about revenge. It wasn't petty. It was closure. A clean break. The final act of a love story that never got its ending. She gave the ring back without hesitation. I sold it with just as much. That was the real goodbye. Canceling the wedding should have felt like failure. Like defeat. But it didn't. It felt like freedom. Every call I made, to the florist, the DJ, the venue, the caterer, was like cutting a string that had been tying me to a life I didn't choose alone. Sorry, we need to cancel the reservation. Yes, something personal came up. No, there won't be a reschedule. Each conversation was short, firm, final. Some people offered sympathy. Some asked too many questions. I didn't explain. I didn't owe anyone a story. What mattered was that for the first time in this entire engagement, I wasn't just reacting to what she wanted. I was choosing for myself. I even called the travel agent to cancel the honeymoon. She had wanted some remote island resort with overwater bungalows and champagne breakfasts. I asked if it could be transferred to a solo traveler. Yes, absolutely, they said. So I kept the flight, for me. The apartment got quieter with every box of unused decorations I tossed out. But strangely, I felt more at peace. Like each cancellation wasn't just erasing plans, it was clearing space in my life for something better. Canceling the wedding didn't ruin me. It rescued me. It took exactly 48 hours. 2 full days of silence. 2 full days where I didn't reach out, didn't ask why, didn't beg for closure. That's when the calls started. First 1. Then 3. By the 5th missed call, I knew exactly what was happening. Reality had finally caught up to her. Maybe her ex wasn't as perfect as she remembered. Maybe unfinished business turned out to be just that, unfinished for a reason. Or maybe she finally realized what she had walked away from, someone who truly loved her. But I didn't answer. She left voicemails, short, scattered, unsure. Hey, I just wanted to talk. Are you okay? Please call me back. I stared at my screen, not even tempted. I'd cried already. Grieved already. Moved on faster than she ever thought I would. Then came the texts. Can we meet? I think I made a mistake. I didn't expect you to disappear like this. Exactly. She thought I'd wait. She thought I'd be her safety net, her backup plan, her emotional cushion if things with her ex fell through. But she forgot, I had already walked through the fire. And when a man rises from ashes, he doesn't go back to the one who lit the match. She tried everything. Texts. Calls. Voicemails layered with half apologies and confused explanations. She even had mutual friends reach out, casually asking how I was doing, as if they didn't know. She was unraveling, and it was obvious. Regret is a strange thing. It starts quiet, then gets desperate. Her messages turned from casual to frantic. Can we please just talk? Became, I can't believe you're ignoring me. Then came the classic, you never really loved me if you can walk away this easily. That one made me laugh. She couldn't understand how I was silent, how I wasn't reacting. But what she didn't realize was that silence was the reaction. It was deliberate, loud, in its own way. Because when someone takes you for granted, there's nothing more deafening than your absence. I didn't block her. I didn't send a final message. I simply stopped engaging. No closure. No dramatic goodbye. Just stillness, the kind that forces someone to sit with their own choices. She screamed into the void. And I let her. Because in the end, I didn't need to explain myself. My silence said it all. You chose your past. I chose my peace. People kept asking me if I was okay, if I was healing, if I still thought about her. And the truth? I was better than okay. I wasn't just healing, I was evolving. Because in losing her, I didn't just lose a fiancé. I found myself. I found the version of me that had been buried beneath compromise, under silent sacrifices and constant emotional juggling. I found the man who didn't have to beg to be chosen. The man who didn't measure his worth through someone else's indecision. I rediscovered peace, not because she left, but because I let her go completely. The pain was real, yes. But so was the strength that followed. I traveled solo. Took the honeymoon trip anyway. Ate alone on a beach under the stars and realized I had never truly been alone. I had just never given myself enough space to be whole without someone else. Now when I see couples in love, I don't feel bitter. I feel wiser. I know what love isn't supposed to feel like. It's not begging. It's not waiting to be prioritized. She taught me what I'd never accept again. And in return, I gave her silence, and a man she'll never get back.